When this team transport set was released back in 2024, it was widely considered as one of the best sets ever made by Mattel in this production line. And then in 2025, Mattel went ahead and brought out this set. Hey everyone, this is Suresh from Mind is a Monkey, coming at you guys with another episode of Let's Check Out Some Diecast. In today's video, we are going to be checking out these two assortments of Hot Wheels Car Culture Team Transport. So the one on the left is from 2024 and the one on the right is the more recent one from 2025. Definitely, both of these sets can be considered as some of the best, team transport sets ever made. And each is definitely a winner in that year, right? So if you were to take team transports by year, this is definitely the winner of 2024. And I'm pretty sure that this is hands down the winner of 2025, if not one of the best team transport sets of all ages. All right, let's dive right into today's video. I believe it's interesting to note that this is the first Car Culture Team Transport video that I'm doing for the channel. And I've been sleeping on a lot of team transports. I've always been wanting to do team transports, but I just kept piling them up and up and up till I got to a point where I thought I'll do a showcase. But then, I never found the exact time for it. So, better late than never. I just wanted to kind of start off by showcasing some of the best sets that have been made in this line in the past 2 years. So first we will talk about the 2024 set with the 4Runner and the off-road truck and the Nissan 300ZX GTS. And then we will switch to the section where we discuss one of the hottest team transports ever made, which includes the Ferrari 250 GTO, the Toyota A86 Sprinter, and the Lykan Hypersport. All right. Let's start off by reviewing some facts about car culture team transport. Now, we all know the mainstream car culture started in 2016 with Hot Wheels coming up with the Japan Historic set, right? We all know and love the Datsun 510 Bluebird wagon, right? So, and then that set is going for awesome prices even today. That is how special of a set it is. Now, that was 2016. We all know in 2026, Hot Wheels would be commemorating 10 years of car culture, and it is coming up with some special chase pieces and whatnot, right? Now, in 2018, right, so Mattel introduced a spin-off from car culture called Team Transport, right? So this would include a main car and a hauler, right? So, in this, you would see that it is more of a hitch and tow, but typically their designs would be, a main car and a team transport that kind of like moves it or transports it between, the various events and whatnot, right? So now, I'm not sure if this started as a 2018 thing when Mattel was commemorating the 50 years of Hot Wheels. But then they decided to continue on that tradition, and it's been going strong for 8 years now, right? So in 2025 is the 8th year of Team Transport. Definitely, we have seen some pretty cool pieces, pretty cool trucks, and a variety of haulers, that have been introduced in this category. More often than not, people just tend to kind of like not collect the haulers, but they are pretty cool stuff. If you like the cars, then you can just get the cars and give the haulers to your kids. That's what I think. But for a few licensed labels like Momo or Gulf or something like that, or BRE or something like that, I typically kind of like give them to my son, right? So that's the deal with Team Transport. And now this set is from 2025, and it's got 3 pairs of team transport in this particular mix. It's got a Toyota off-road truck with a Fleet Street, 89 Toyota Supra with an 18 Toyota 4Runner, and a 94 Nissan 300ZX with a Euro hauler. All right, so let's check this out. Okay, the first one in this mix is going to be this Toyota off-road truck. Now, some fun facts about the Toyota off-road truck. This is actually a race version, or should I say a Baja race version of the Toyota T100 Baja truck, right? I think I gotta fix the camera. Quick minute. There, that's much better. So this is a modified version of the Toyota T100 truck. And, we have seen this make an appearance as both mainline and premiums. And it was also one of the super treasure hunts, but possibly the year is either 2017 or 2018. I'm not very sure about that. But this one's got some authentic Toyota colors. The TRD, which stands for Toyota Racing Development, right? It would have been pretty cool had this been a fifth real rider. But I think, Mattel couldn't justify the cost of production, right? So it kept that to be a 3D printed plastic part. So anyway, in summary, this is a very popular model, both among, general collectors and a big hit among JDM lovers. Now, this one's got BF Goodrich, Bella, and ABAC for deco, the number 1, all right? And for the team transport, it's got this Fleet Street, right? Which comes with this pretty cool set of spare tires and stuff like that. They're not removable though. They're just like stuck to the mold. And this is actually a removable part, right? So, you could just like have it here and, make it look like the car is boarding, and then, that goes and like sits there, all right? So pretty cool. I mean, I know this seems pretty rudimentary, but this is the first time I'm covering team transport, so I just wanted to kind of like call out all these real fun features that they kind of like built into the castings, all right? Our next model in this particular mix is a pretty awesome Toyota 4Runner that is actually hitching and towing an 89 Toyota Supra. Okay, so pretty awesome. The fun thing is, as if putting a Toyota 4Runner on a team transport wasn't interesting enough, they went and made it act as a hauler for an 89 Toyota Supra. Pretty awesome. The fact that, this one, again, so I was just pointing out to the fact that this is the first time Mattel has come up with this kind of a model for a team transport, right? So let's check out the models, right? The Toyota 4Runner. And I think to be specific, this is the 2018 Toyota 4Runner. Now, this 4Runner is a huge hit among, just general collectors and JDM lovers, right? I think one of the main key reasons for that love is that this is actually a model that you see on road, right? So a model that you can relate to in the real world. So, and this seems like such a factory color, right? I definitely remember seeing at least a couple of cars in this particular color. And they keep coming up with pretty interesting, attractive colors all the time. Now, this Toyota 4Runner casting has made 2 appearances just in boulevards, right? And earlier, I think it was Mountain Haulers or something, where it made a 3rd premium appearance, but that was kind of like its first debut appearance in car culture. And now, under the Team Transport banner, it is making a 2nd appearance in car culture, right? So definitely a very cool casting, and solid, rugged-looking Toyota grille, and 4Runner and TRD Pro for lettering on the back. All right, now let's check out this model, right? So now this is an 89 Toyota Supra, and get this, guys, this is a brand new casting, right? So this is one of those castings that has made a debut appearance in a premium line, right? So how cool is that? It has 24 valve twin turbo, most likely the engine specification, right? And then it's got Supra in both the front and the rear tailplate, and it's got Toyota Supra, that's like for a lettering there. Pretty cool, simple, and a very elegant execution. Wow, it's just like, look at those contours, right? That's pretty awesome. And I think it's a fun add to the whole team transport, line of vehicles. This kind of like covered rear, right? I think there should definitely be like an industrial term for it, but I'm not aware of that right now. Sorry. But in case someone knows what it's called, please share your thoughts in the comments. All right. Now, the final one in this mix is a 94 Nissan 300ZX GTS that is being transported in a Euro hauler. Okay. Now, let's check this out. All right. So these things usually come up with this plastic so that in packaging, it gives the feel, it gives the look and feel that something is actually coming down or going back into the hauler kind of a deal. So that's credit to Julian Coils, I guess, for all those packaging gimmicks, right? So definitely it does an awesome job every time. So there we have the 94 Nissan 300ZX GTS. Now, this is another brand new casting, right? It's really cool that Mattel is using the car culture team transport as like a launch pad for many of these awesome looking models, right? The team transport has definitely in the past brought out some pretty cool, models. I think a few that kind of like come into my memory is the 69 Nissan Skyline van, the Momo Porsche, at the BRE, right? We even had a Datsun Bluebird 510 Coupe sporting the BRE livery, and the RWB Porsche. Wow, that's like super famous in the team transport line. So pretty awesome, right? So I was just like circling back to the fact that Mattel actually uses team transport, to come up with some fun, interesting models for the first time. So I think that's pretty cool. And this one's got a lot of racing deco on it, right? So 75 GT S1 Nissan Z. Now it's got Yokohama BBS for deco. All right. Such racing colors, red and blue, I should say. Almost looks BRE, right? It looks BRE with its, red, white, and blue deco, right? All right, anyway, so pretty awesome looking set. All right, so now let's set it there. And this one has a pretty cool part. This Euro hauler has this removable part, and you can literally, this is a big hit with my son. He loves, putting some stuff inside. He'll get them stuck, and then it'll become my number one priority in the world to get it out for him. All right, kids. All right, so that was that pretty awesome set from 2024. And now, drum rolls, everyone, because Hot Wheels just dropped one of the most insane team transports ever made, right? And as if, subscribing to the Ferrari mania wasn't enough, they actually brought out a brand new transporter, right? So now this is called the Fiat 642 RN2. It gets really techy, right? For a name. It's actually the Fiat 642 RN2 Bartoletti transporter, right? So how cool is that, right? And I'm pretty sure before Hot Wheels, I have seen this hauler like among other makers maybe, right? Or possibly in some random Facebook post or something like that, right? But to have a Hot Wheels version of it is a pretty dope feel, all right? So there we have it. Trust me, you guys, social media is full of pictures where, we all know how 2025 marked the renewal of the licensing between Ferrari and Hot Wheels, and how Mattel has been putting that license to real good use almost in every car culture mix that you can think of, right? So whether it's race day or Euro speed or timeless icons, now in team transport, they have been introducing one Ferrari model after another, right? This is something that's been going on in my thought process for a while. I think, it's really nice that Mattel is giving real rider treatment to a lot of these OG models, right? Now, we all know, kind of like Mattel officially closed its license. So all of these toolings were, kind of like scrapped down, right? So now all of these are considered brand new toolings, and Mattel has definitely kind of leveled up its Real Riders game in these past few years. So I know in the past we have had Hot Wheels, especially the 250 GTO, we have had Real Rider versions of it, but to see that continue into the other models like the F50 and the La Ferrari, it's definitely awesome, right? So social media has just been full of pictures where there will be like one Real Rider car here and two more on the top, right? So that's like a pretty cool. Oh wow, I didn't realize. Okay, so this has a retractable section here, right? Most likely to load it, right? And then there will be like two more Ferrari Real Riders here. So that's like a standard picture you would run into if you're like looking at cars on Instagram, right? So really awesome looking team transport right there, okay? So now let's check out the model. The Ferrari 250 GTO, 22 for the racing number. And this is a brand new casting because, Mattel had to remake all these castings after the licensing got renewed. Okay, so yeah, check that out. So it says 2025 Mattel on the base there. All right, pretty cool, vintage looking wheels, laced wheels, I would say, right? And look at those vents, right? That's pretty awesome. So all in all, a very beautiful looking 250 GTO. And as if that wasn't enough, they brought out this awesome, uber cool looking team transport, right? So it says Modena, Italia, Ferrari Automobili, and there we have the prancing pony, the Cavanello Rampante. I think that's what it's called in Italian, right? So the prancing pony, the horse that symbolizes the Ferrari. All right, so very cool. And look at that choice of, the hubs, right? I really dig those red hubs for those wheels, right? It almost looks like a fire engine, right? So, but it's actually a team transport for a Ferrari, right? So let's check out the front. Wow, check that out, right? So I think this is where it calls out Bortoletti, right? So Bortoletti, which is basically the model of this particular team transport. Awesome Ferrari signage right there. And it says Fiat 642. Does it say 642? Yeah. So Fiat 642 RN2. That's what it calls it on the card. And it's even got a tailplate 42629 MO, right? So I think the MO stands for Modena or something, right? So wow, pretty dope casting. I think, if you are a car lover, and more specifically, if you are a Ferrari lover, this would make a great, if not a fantastic, tabletop edition. All right. Okay. So let me set that right there. Now let's jump to the second model in this mix for 2025. It's a Toyota AE86 Sprinter Trueno being transported on a Fleet Street, right? Okay, let me open that up. Okay, so now there are like lots of fun facts about this particular model, right? I think it made its debut in Boulevards. I think it was number 18, if I'm not wrong. And then just in Boulevards alone, this made a second appearance, right? And then this was also the car featured in the Initial D Special Edition. I think that was like a Japan exclusive, right? And then after that, it has seen quite a number of releases, including Car Culture, Ultra Hots, Fast and Furious, and I think the next big appearance of this particular car is going to be Japan Historics 5, that is due for release in 2026, right? That's right, Japan Historics 5. 2016 saw the first ever release of Japan Historics, and in 2026 we'll be seeing the fifth run of the Japan Historics. All right, so awesome, casting right there. It says GTV twin cam, and there's a number that's like just too small for me to read, so I'm not going to try. It's either a 16 or an 18. So Twin Cam 16. Okay, now there's no mistaking it. It's Twin Cam 16, all right? So, I remember this. This even came out as a Zamac in Falcon livery, right? So we have Trueno, those, headlights that are like super distinct about this model. So, and nice choice of wheels too, right? I think the full black wheels kind of like, definitely adds to the beauty of it, right? Typically, I'm always of the opinion that, if the hubs were of a different shade, it really brings out the accents. But for some reason, here it's kind of like just blending with that lower part of the car that is actually black. So it gives it a pretty cool feel, all right? So fancy front right there, right? So very nice. And this is the standard Fleet Street, right? We saw another Fleet Street. So this is like one of those standard team transport offerings. Okay, all right, let's set it there. Wow, we are already down to the last model of the mix. This is a Lykan Hypersport being transported in a Euro hauler. All right, so let me just get that out. And typically, there is always like a plastic part that needs to be removed. I think from time to time, Mattel is making these constant process improvements, which makes them try out different materials for these blisters. And sometimes they're just like too weak to sustain the weight of the car. All right. Anyway, so I think this stands for W Motors, which is actually the creator of the Lykan Hypersport model. Now, everybody, know this model from the Fast and the Furious movies. This particular model made all of our hearts jump in excitement when Dominic Toretto just drives it out of the skyscraper in Dubai. So I think that's the Furious 7 movie, right? And everybody went crazy after that. To be honest, I think for a couple of years after that, Mattel did not even come out with this model. I think the first one to come out with this particular, Lykan Hypersport was Jada, right? And then, kind of like Mattel followed suit and brought out its 1:64 premium version. Now, this is mostly been a Fast and the Furious exclusive release, except for one time where we saw it make an appearance in Boulevards as number 49. Right? So all the Fast and Furious releases have been pretty similar, if not the same, right? Because the paint scheme is very similar, or they may just have like, small variations, right? But all in all, a very powerful hypercar, right? So there we have the Lykan Hypersport. And one thing that I noticed was, now this is also a Euro hauler, which is like the standard one that we saw with this Nissan, right? So it's the same hauler, and it's got an opening rear. And I, for one, actually couldn't fit this model, right? It doesn't actually fit in there, at least not without scratching the tires or the rear fenders, right? So it goes in more conveniently at an angle, so, right? So I hope the real world hauler, if it is really present, is broader than this one, right? All right, so there we have the final model for the day. So if I were to kind of like pick favorites, definitely, hands down, this would be my first one, because, for me personally, having all these 1:64 Ferrari cars being released in the premium line is kind of a dream come true, because, during the lull that Ferrari and Mattel had, I really hoped that they would get that licensing back on track and start giving us all these pretty beautiful looking cars. So, and just to see that in action just this past year has been amazing, right? It's been super awesome of an experience. So this would definitely be my first model among these 6 models. And the second one would definitely be the Toyota 4Runner transporting that Toyota Supra in that pretty cool new model of a hauler, right? So there are my number 1 and number 2. What are your top favorites in these 2 mixes that we saw? Share your thoughts in the comments. Till I meet you guys next time, this is Suresh signing off. Rock on and stay awesome. Bye, everyone.